What's up, Team Awesome? This is another quick tutorial on Propresenter, the program that we use to do all of the lyrics, sermon notes, anything that goes up on screen in the main auditorium comes out of Propresenter. So I want to do a quick little run through on just some of the little things that we use that are specific to kind of how we do things, and then um, just some of the ways that we lay out the program so that it's easier for all of us to use. So let's just jump right in. All right, so here we are in the control room, sitting at the station for the projection, or CG1 has multiple names, but they all mean the same thing. So what we need to do is open up the program called Propresenter. You'll see that there's two of them. It's Propresenter 6, and then there's one that just says Propresenter. We're going to open the one that just says Propresenter. This is actually Propresenter 7, but they just call it Propresenter. We upgraded to Propresenter 7 not too long ago, and it gives us a lot of added functionality that Propresenter 6 didn't give us. But hence the need for a quick little video on how to do some of the things. So the first thing that you need to know where it is this up here is going to be what's called the library. Inside the library is where all of our playlists are. So every service that we run comes through a playlist. So like our most recent one was August, somewhere in August. Um, and the playlist will hold the songs that we sing that day, the sermon notes, and anything else like videos or slides that we have are all in that playlist. So this is where you find those, is up here in the library. Um, Also in the library, you'll see this thing that says default. This is the actual library that holds every song that we've ever built, all of our verbals, all of our sermon notes, anything that we've ever done probably over the last decade is all in here. And it's all titled based on what it is. So like sermon notes for 7:15 service, sermon notes for Pastor Brett. There's a bunch of different things. There's songs in here. And so this is the library that holds everything that then goes into the playlists. All right, so let's look directly at one of our most recent playlists. I want to jump right into the songs. So as you see, I just clicked right here on the first song that we would sing, which was Your Great Name. As you can see, there's the title up here, Your Great Name by Todd Delaney. And then you'll also notice that right here, there's also in parentheses, it says GCC. So what that is the specific arrangement that we have created to run the song in the way that we sing it. And so you'll notice every song has those little parentheses that say GCC. That just means that we've selected the arrangement GCC. As you'll see, there are two arrangements here. There's the master arrangement, and then there's GCC. The master arrangement is very simple. This is the layout, or this is all the parts of the song listed once. So every song will have a verse, a chorus. Sometimes it'll have verse 2, sometimes it'll have a chorus 2, whatever the case may be. The master arrangement really only shows each thing once. So as you can see here, there's verse 1, then there's this pre-chorus, then there's the chorus, then there's verse 2, and then the bridge. All of it is listed once. What you'll notice is once we right-click here and go to Arrangement and click on GCC, this same song now has more stuff because the way we sing it, it's not just one of everything. So the way we sing it, there's the verse, then there's pre-chorus, then we sing the chorus twice, so on and so forth. So creating arrangements allows us to lay out the song the way that we sing it. So all you have to do is click spacebar to get through to the next slide. Now, if, say for instance, we go through rehearsal and they need to change the format of how we're going to sing something. What we need to do is change our arrangement. And the easiest way to do that is right up here where you see this button, and if you hover over it, it says Arrangements. When you click on that, it's going to show you the entire arrangement that we have created. And very simply, all you have to do if you need to make a change is you pull from the gray bars, which is your master arrangement. So this is the master, the gray. The blue is your created arrangement. So the master arrangement has one of everything. And then to build our arrangement, all you do is say if we needed to add another blank slide before the verse 2. So after we sing that double chorus, then we go into verse 2. So if I needed to put a blank there, all I'd have to do is grab the blank, drag it right in, and let it go. And as you see, it adds a blank. And then if you did that by accident, all you got to do is hit the X and delete it, and it's gone. Once you're done making the changes to the arrangements, all you have to do is close that tab, and everything goes back to normal. Okay, one quick thing I want to cover is our keyboard setup. The typical way that we like to run things here is you have the mouse over here with your right hand. This allows you to move the cursor to wherever you need it to be, know where it always is, just in case you do have to go off map a little bit and jump to something different. Your hand is always there. So now the next thing we do is we like to have our left hand on the space bar. Space bar is really what you need. It makes everything go. It just goes next slide, next slide, next slide. So space bar is the safest way to advance the slides and make the fewest mistakes. You can use the left and right arrows to go left and right. The problem with doing that is if you accidentally hit the down arrow, it switches you to the next song, which can then throw you off. So that is why we like to use just the spacebar to advance the slides. Okay, so the next thing to note is while we have our hand here, we also have these buttons up top, your function keys. We've got them taped over so that they stand out a little bit more. We've got this first one here, it's the clear all button. So basically, this will clear everything within Propresenter. So backgrounds, foregrounds, whatever there is, this will clear everything. The next one over is clear lyrics. So this will literally just clear the lyrics. If you have a background running, the background will stay, but the lyrics will disappear. So again, clear all will clear everything. Clear lyrics clears just the lyrics over top of the background. Those things are helpful because if for some odd reason we get lost in a song or we have something up different than what they're singing, we want to be able to quickly clear the lyrics so that way there's nothing distracting and confusing on the screen, and then we'll move into the next song or the next portion of whatever's being sung after we find it. And speaking of finding things, when they go to a new song that we didn't necessarily already have in our playlist, the way we can help with that is we search for the new song that they're trying to sing. So the way that we do that, there's this nifty little search button right up here. It looks like a little magnifying glass. You click that. Now this is different than how Pro 6 used to work. It gives you a nice little search window that you can then type in the song that we're looking for. So let's just say we're looking for Agnes Day. And so as you see, I typed in the first 3 letters and the song already pops up. So now the reason that pops up is because we're filtering through our library, which is this icon here. This icon next to it, if it were selected, it would be for what's called Song Select. Song Select simply connects to the CCLI database and allows you to search from any song that's in that database and then import it into our library. But for this demonstration, I want to also show you how to select just our library. This is the little Propresenter logo looking thing. That is our library. So then once you've done that, say we want to look at the song Agnes Day. We click on it. Oh man, nothing happened. So this is definitely different from how Propresenter 6 used to be. Used to be if you searched for it and clicked on it, it would pop up and then you could just run it. What you would have to do from here is you can double click on it and it'll open it up. And then you can run the song just like we normally would, as long as it's formatted properly. If it's not formatted properly, then our typical go-to would be not to run the song until we can properly format it. But most of our songs are formatted well, so that shouldn't be an issue. So again, search bar up here. Once you're searching, you can double click to pull up the song, or the other thing that you can do is you can drag it into your playlist, and of course, once you go back to the playlist, it's there in succession with everything else that you want to run. So like if you know that they're going to do that every service that we do or whatever, we can put it where it needs to be and then run it that way. The next thing I want to cover is the Bibles section of ProPresenter. So built into ProPresenter, there's all sorts of translations of the Bible. Um, so for instance, like 715, we might not have gotten the scripture ahead of time during in the notes to be able to put it into the system, but we hear whoever's speaking say, "All right, we're going to read from John 3:16." So while we may all know that verse, we still want to put it up for people to follow along. So right up here, you'll see this button here that says Bibles. We'll click on that. And so as you can see, it has some pre-filled in things of the translation is going to be the New American Standard Bible. And then there's other settings that you don't really have to worry about. But if we want to look up John 3:16 and hit enter, there we have the scripture. And so while we're in this view, we can actually click on it right here and it'll run it over top of the sermon just like it would if we already had it in the lower thirds notes. But you can all do it from right here. And if you have to add more scriptures, you can add more. If you need to do some different things while you're in here, like if he jumps around to, let's go to, John 3:20, you can then retype that in and then you've got the new scripture there. You can show that. Again, from here, when they're done reading it, you can just hit clear all, which is our button here, clear all, and it gets rid of everything. So that's also another helpful moment where clear all comes into play. Now, once we're done utilizing this Bible tool, the next thing that you want to do is be able to go back and run the rest of your notes. So you'll come back up here to where it says play. This basically just gets you back to your playlist, hence the name play. They call it show. It's a play button, but you get my point. So hitting show or the play button takes you back to your playlist where you were so that you can continue running the lower thirds or wherever we were in that service. That would be how you do that. All right, so one of the last things that I want to try and cover is what we call stage display. Stage display is very simply what content gets put on the confidence monitors out in the auditorium. Confidence monitors are the two TVs that are over top of either exit door, and those are really utilized for like the singers on stage when they're doing worship. Stage display will show the current and next slide so that they know what's coming up, what they're singing, all those kind of things. During the sermon, again, it shows the next slide. So for Pastor Brett who's preaching, or Pastor Jim, or any of the other pastors that preach, we have their notes built in. We can click on the slide before it, and then it'll show them a preview of their next point in their notes. So that's a couple of the uses of stage display. But what I want to be able to show you guys right now is how to make sure that stage display is actually on and showing the right thing. So as you can see, I'm clicked on, or I have the background slide highlighted of this first song. So in the room, as you can see right here, there's nothing going up on the screen. There's, no lyrics being shown, nothing like that, because as it stands right now, I have a black slide on Propresenter, so nothing should be going to the room. Now, what you will notice is up here in this top window, you'll see aux2 SD1. So the SD stands for stage display. 1 is coming from CG1, so stage display 1. And as you can see, it shows the next slide in your list. So we love to call your name. We love to call your name. So that right there tells you that currently stage display is set up and showing the right thing. But there might be a moment where you don't see anything. So right now it's black and it's like, where's the stage display? So there's two things that you can do. The very simple thing that you can do is push and hold Command and then the number 2. And what that does is it tells Propresenter to turn on stage display. So that's the shortcut for turning on stage display, but you could also do it the long way by coming up here to where it says screens at the top and then come down to where it says stage. So there's a little part here that says stage. Right now it gives you an option to disable because it's already enabled. But if that was disabled, so you would come in and be like, oh, I need to turn on stage display. It gives you the option to enable it. Boom, there you have it. That's the same as hitting Command 2, which if you look right next to where it says disable, it says Command 2. So it's the same thing. It's just the long way to do it if you don't remember the shortcut. Okay, so the next thing to be mindful of when we're talking about stage display is what we're actually sending to stage display. So within Propresenter 7, we have a lot of options of what we can actually send to the screen. So we have a bunch of different layouts. We have a current and next. We have a video countdown. We have an Advent reading slide, which is when we're doing our Advent season. We'll have blank going to the main screen, but there's text for the person on stage to read during that moment. So the Advent reading is a stage display setup that just shows the person the text that they need to read, but it doesn't actually put anything up on the screen. And as you can see, we have a bunch of other layouts for our stage display. The main one that we use during worship is current and next. Again, that shows the current slide that we're on and then the next slide for the singers so that they know what we're singing now and then what's coming up. Another one that we use often is current and next with notes. This is usually used during the announcements portion of our service or any other time where we need to show a graphic but also have some notes underneath of the graphic for the person on stage to remember what the event is or remember what they need to talk about. So that's what this current and next with notes does. It shows a current slide, the next slide, and then notes about each of those things underneath of the slide. Again, we also have a video countdown. That one shows if we're running a video, it will show the video and then show underneath of it a countdown of how much longer it has until it ends. So that's what that one's for. Again, the biggest one that we use is going to be current and next. We use that during all of worship and during all of the sermon. That's the stage display layout. So the easiest way to fix that or to select it, come up to screens, go to where it says stage screen 1, current and next, and then you can select anything that you need for that moment that we're in. Okay, So there you have the basics as it relates to ProPresenter 7. This is just scratching the surface. There's a lot more that this program does. There's also a lot more that we don't use. So, but I will put a link in this comment section to ProPresenter's website where they have a bunch of tutorial videos that you can watch and kind of learn some more of the little detailed, nuanced things as far as how to build a slide, how to build an overall presentation, how to put in transitions, how to do all the little detailed things that I didn't cover in this video because they weren't really a basic thing or something that we use often. But there's a lot of videos available on ProPresenter's website that you can watch that'll give you a little bit more information on the overall program itself. But that basically covers the things that we use here in our control room on a daily basis, on a weekly basis to make our services run. So, again, thank you for watching this, and let's keep being great. Thanks, team.